PEGI 18.
Hello everyone and welcome to Community Corner. I'm Jen, community developer on the game. Last July, we invited a couple of our most involved players to Montreal, and one of them, GeoFurb, asked, how does sound propagation work? The answer was really interesting, so we discussed this today, and this is why I will be joined by our audio director to talk about it. Alright, well, hi LP, thanks for joining me today. First off, let's start with the basics. How is spatialization usually done in games?
So typically, what you'll find in games is what we call occlusion. Occlusion is you have a sound on one side of a wall and you're listening from the other side. You'll get a direct path to that sound, but it'll be filtered, so you won't hear all the frequencies, as if you were right in front of a very thin wall in real life.
So that would be a direct path?
Yeah, that would be a direct path.
But then in our game, what happens?
We wanted to inspire ourselves even more on what real life would do. So having two doors open right here, what we're going to do with sound is we're going to send that sound over to this first opening, snap it to there, then the algorithm is going to look for the closest next point to this listener. So it's going to go through here and connect to this wall and back down to the player. Essentially, if you split that, the sound is going to be virtually positioned here. So this listener is going to hear the sound coming from that door. The closer he gets to the door, the more the path is going to come down to the actual position of the listener. So let's say of the emitter. So let's say the listener comes up to here. Well, he's going to hear the sound coming from the corridor, and it'll come back down until he gets to here, where he gets a direct path and has the real position of the source.
So we can basically follow the sound he hears to the source.
Exactly.
And what happens if, let's say, this guy over there, the sound emitter, gets close to the wall and starts banging on it, putting, let's say, a breach charge?
So as if it would be in real life, if I bang on this wall and you're right beside it, you're going to hear the banging on the wall. So when somebody places a breach charge,
breaching charge is ready.
We have a contact sound that plays on the other side of the wall, which is basically a muffled version of that sound, just like occlusion would.
Okay, so you need the direct contact sound to make sound come off from the other side.
Exactly.
So this is what happens when rooms are next to each other, but what happens if they're on top of each other?
So something very particular about verticality is that, you know, when you're in a house and you hear somebody walking over you, it's actually the contact sound I was talking to you about. But instead of hitting on a wall, you're hitting on the floor. So in this case, in a certain vicinity from, you know, hearing, you're going to hear these muffled footsteps. As soon as they get out of that type of sphere, you're going to hear the normal propagation. So you're going to hear the direct sound coming from those stairs. So you're going to know that if you follow that path, you're going to get to him. But that added extra information of, oh, he's right over me, well, that can help a lot with, you know, breaching traps and also line of sight floors.
So you could decide to shoot him through the floor as well.
Yeah.
And then what happens once we introduce destruction? As
we use destruction as line of sights, you can use destruction as line of sounds if you want. So let's say you want to make sure you hear somebody coming from that direction, take a shotgun, blow a hole in the wall, and that sound is going to come from that hole if it's the shortest way to hear the sound.
So LP, how can our players use sound to their advantage?
So the first tip I'd give is get yourself a good pair of headphones and listen to the game loud. The game was mixed to be closer to reality, and you get a lot more dynamics, and you can understand better perception of sound if you're listening to it louder. The other thing is that there's a lot of sounds that were put in there as feedback. It's supernatural, it feels realistic, and they give really good feedback on where the enemy's gonna breach. So yeah, that's what I'd say to get the best experience.
All right, well, thank you so much, LP, for taking the time. And thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you want to join the discussion or ask a question, head over to our forums or to our subreddit. See you next time on Community Corner.